Hello there and welcome to the Glow Up Method. This is the place we talk all things life transformation, intentional living, all in this pursuit to live a life that makes you proud. Hi, my name is Natasha and I am here. It has been, I don't know, it's just been an exhausting day. Like, I am exhausted. And when you're exhausted, like, it takes so much more energy to do the basics, like literally getting out of bed, like literally brushing your teeth. Like, it just takes so much effort, right? So I had made this commitment to make a certain dinner tonight for my family, and I am laying in bed like struggle bus. Like, there is a plethora of paperwork, taxes, things that I need to be doing. I am procrastinating, I'm avoiding, and now I'm in this position where immediately I'm going to let my kids down. And I'm like, listen, I'm exhausted. Like, I went to the gym, I did a lot of workouts. I went to my uncle's house, pulled out all these weeds and was like hitting stuff with shovels and pulling out tumbleweed. Like, I'm sore and I'm tired. And even though I'm sore and tired, I've been, in some ways, because my back's injured, pushing myself more in the areas in which I can. So, like, arm weights, I've been, going up to 7.5 sometimes. I know, can you imagine? But it's a bar class, so it's high reps. Sometimes and it's just according to whatever it is, like what muscle I'm using. If it's pulling on my back, then it's, I'm going down to the twos. But, it's adapting, it's really listening. I've been struggling sleeping at night because of this back issue. I went to the doctors yesterday, and I again can go on and get another shot, but I'm trying to really be mindful of what my experience is, and seeing what's happening. So anyways, I'm doing all these things. I'm pushing myself. I'm going softer in some areas that I know are going to hurt me, like twisting and things like that. And I am just exhausted. Like, I felt cold at one point. It was rainy today. Any of those rainy days just get me wanting to like curl up in a bed, right? We don't have too many of them here in California. So, it's a good thing I don't live in a rainy climate, because then I would just be wanting to sleep all the time. But this weekend, it is, like, for me, daylight savings time, which means that we spring forward an hour, which means we have more daylight. So yes, as a person who needs the sun to, like a flower, like to make, me bloom and come out, I'm appreciative for it. But I was laying there and I was like, I need help. Like, and, of course, I'm like, I don't want to cook tonight. And, of course they don't want help, but it's just like literally just the helping, chopping, divided by 3 people versus 1 person cuts that time in 1/3, and it's more of a social experience, right? Like, it's not just me standing there and cooking like as a chore and a job. It's like this opportunity to hang out with them. So I got to do that with 2 of my sons, which I appreciated. And so we got, right now, I was like, okay, between basting and roasting a chicken and having some potatoes and carrots and onions and, getting all the fixins and the gravy and bread. And it's one of those like cold day, hearty comfort food meals. So I'm making that. And, it really made me start thinking about asking for help. It's one of those things. It's like it's really hard for me to ask for help. Do you guys experience this? Like, it's just such a challenge to ask for help. It's like, I have to remind myself, nobody's coming to save me. Like, no matter how close I am with my kids or Chris or my friends or anything, they're not going to just automatically know what's going on for me. Like, nobody reads minds just as much as I can't read their minds and know exactly what's going on for them. But if they speak up and say I need help, I'm able to accommodate and help where I can and how I can, right? So, this is today's reminder is, it's okay to ask for help. Today, I needed to ask for help. I was like, I can't do this. And I wasn't very direct in it. One of my sons had some feedback in that, he's like, next time just be direct, like that, here's what you need. And I was like, yeah, I'm still learning. I'm still practicing on how to ask for help, because there's been so many times and where I felt I wasn't worthy. I didn't want to burden anyone else. I've been let down. I'd asked for help and didn't get it. So like, I, have retreated and been like, I can do everything on my own, but I really can't. And today is a testimony to that. I needed help. And even though it was doing something I really didn't want to do, doing it with my kids and not alone and asking for help made me feel more confident. It made me feel stronger. It made me feel energized in a sense. Like I came in here now and I'm like, oh, I have more energy now, knowing that the weight of the world isn't alone on my shoulders. I don't have to bear every single burden that this is this family. So that was a beautiful moment that I had. And for you, I want to remind you too, it's so normal, right? Like we want help, whether it be with our relationships or in the workplace or with our friends. And we want somebody to save us, right? They see we're struggling. Come on, just step up and do it. And a lot of times I would find myself, if it was something I was aware of, right? You see somebody and they're struggling with, carrying a bag, you run over and you grab the bag. Why? Because I've been that person so many times and nobody showed up for me. So my perception, my perspective is like, oh, I know how to.
Someone is at the front gate.
I know how to respond. Somebody is at my front gate. It's probably my daughter's Amazon box. Yes, it is. I think so. But I say all this to say, like, that completely distracted me. But there's been so many times in which I personally needed help and didn't ask. So when people didn't ask for the help, I often interjected. My kids are the recipients of this. Like they didn't always want my help, but there I was doing it. Like my son's, penguin project in second grade, where I took over, in this quest to help. And so I'm really learning how to, number one, advocate and say, what's going on for me? What is my experience? Do I need help? And then if so, it's then my responsibility to communicate that with other people. It's not a bad word to say I need help. It could be emotionally, it could be mentally. And sometimes it's like, I need help. Like, I remember early on in this experience with Chris, like, I was so angry, and then I was feeling all these like flood of emotions of love and wanting to be with him, and like, reaching out to him and saying, I'm struggling. Like, I'm really struggling. Like, I'm confused. I needed to reach out. I then reached out to like my dad, my mom, my therapist, some friends, and like my neighbor. And I was like, is this normal? Like, why am I feeling like this desperate heartbreak, this like it's gutting. It was so immense, and I didn't know how to do with it. And instead of holding it in and thinking I needed to be noble and strong and push through, I surrendered to what my experience was. Today I surrendered and was like, I can't do this all on my own. I am, surrendering. I am throwing one last Hail Mary. Like, my loan was submitted last night. It's in process again. Send me some good juju, because I just need this to go through. And I also know that if it doesn't, then that wasn't what was meant to be. And that's a hard pill to swallow when you want to, control certain things, that you want something so bad. My son, yesterday I had made this whole connection for him. I kept encouraging him, reach out to this connection, and he never did. And just as my intuition was telling me, the person that was representing the team, which is our local home team, dropped out in the last minute. And because my son's on the West Coast versus the East Coast, they've chosen to go with a different player. And he's worked so hard. He's worked harder than any of the other players there. He's doing everything right, but yet his time hasn't come yet. And it's frustrating. Like, he deserves it. He's worked for it. And I had to do my little, I told you so, like, why would you do this? Like, he's like, I know. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm not going to sit here and say this. I was like, you're going to regret this, but you're going to learn from it. Like, this is going to be a lesson. There's never anything I say that I'm doing to set you up for harm. Like, I only want to see you succeed. I may not know video games, but I know how to run a business. I've done that. I know the psychology of people. I know, squeaky wheels get the oil. I know tenacious people who are always in the front. When something falls through, I'm going to pick you because here you are. You've been calling me every week and I want you to stop. Like, I know these things, and he doesn't. He's 19. What does mom know? All he knows is what mom knows. So, that was a real, like, disheartening, disappointment. And then yesterday also happened to be the anniversary of my uncle's passing. And even in class, like, I just, for the last 2 days, haven't, between the pain, between the burden that is like on my shoulder right now. And I'm asking for help, right? But I'm reaching out to resources. I'm talking to people about my situation. Do you know anybody in these? Do you know anything in these industries and things like that to kind of help and guide me? Because I understand there's only so much I know, and that I would rather go out there and utilize what's available out there in this world. People who know, who are professionals. There's things that I'm professionals. I'm pretty damn good at like insurance things. I'm pretty damn good at knowing the system. I've done it so many times. Am I a pro? No, but damn near, like I'm pretty good at understanding the whole college application experience. Like there's a lot of things that I do have wisdom for. There's a lot of things I do know. And I am so grateful to share those, right? My experiences here with life, I'm grateful to share them and share how no matter what's happening, I am learning how to accept where I am. So like my girlfriend today, it was funny. My today is my Thursday for me. And like, wherever you're watching, I don't know what day, maybe ironically it is Thursday, but I've said it here, no shot. It's my favorite day at the gym. And, the first thing I saw my friend and she was like, I'm not super energized today. Like she almost, and I was like, it was like almost like this relief. I'm like, me either. Like I am struggling a little bit today. Like I just don't have it. I'm here and I'm present and I'm going to do my best. But she's like, yes, exactly. I just feel a little bit down. And I was like, me too. I don't know if it's something in the atmosphere, if there's something, what's going on, but just this, and it was interesting that her and I were having this similar experience and we, hadn't seen or communicated in over a week with one another. And, here we were. And even at the end of class, like we gave each other a big hug and we were like, that was really hard. It wasn't hard physically, but it almost was because when you're carrying this extra load of burden on you, just the normal things that you do, like I was saying earlier, just getting out of bed is so much more challenging. But here's the thing. I sent her a message and I was like, hey girl, like, I'm so proud of us because the true test of character is not how we show up when things are easy, when things are going right, and when you're happy. The true test of character is how we show up when we're in struggle. That is where we grow. That is where we gain wisdom. That is where we get confidence and we get stronger. And we may not have been the best. Like the funny thing was, I don't know if like we contribute to it, but like the energy of the whole room was for the last 2 days. It's just like it was fine. It was fine. It wasn't terrible, but it was not electrifying like it usually is. So perhaps we aren't the only ones that are experiencing it, but we're just telling one another of our experiences. And it was nice to know that we had this comfort. And I was like, I'm so proud of us because at the end of the day, we had the choice to not show up. And we chose to show up even though it was really hard. And I think that's a great reminder. There's so many things that are hard, like cooking today. I didn't want to. It was really hard. But utilizing resources and reaching out and saying, I need help, even if it wasn't super direct at first, was the key to re-energizing me. It was the key to saying I'm no longer alone. And then, my sweet little friend, she just sent me a message right before I sat down here and was like, I'm thinking about you and your uncle and I love hearing his stories and he's like imprinted so much on you and I've been thinking about you. And it's just so nice to have this community in which you are not alone. And for me, so many times I felt alone. And it wasn't because I was just the physicality of being alone. It was, like being in a house with my dad and my brother and yet still feeling very unseen and unheard and unwanted and unloved. That was the real feeling of alone. Like being at the table, like I said years ago, when I had hit my reach bottom and I reached my rock bottom and I was like, I sit here every day and I ask everybody, how's your day? And not a person has asked me how my day is. And the loneliest feeling was to be surrounded by 5 other people that you love, that you would take a sword for, like you would do anything for, and to be unseen and unheard. And that made me just feel so alone and unvalued and worthless. And I know that wasn't their fault or their intentions, right? They're just living their lives, their kids, their husbands. Like I never explicitly said that this is something I need. And by the time I did start telling Chris this, it was so far gone. Like it was so far like, why am I going to ask you how you are if you won't give me a hug? You know what my needs are. You're not meeting them. So why am I going to meet your needs? And it was like always this waiting for somebody else to do something in order to do something. And I'm guilty of it too. It's like, well, I'm not going to give you a hug. You haven't asked me in over a week how my day was. Haven't said thank you for cooking or making sure your kids safely got to school and back, or, the plethora of things I do behind the scenes to ensure you have insurance and we have food and, like nothing am I thanked for, So it was very much this, I wanted someone to save me. I wanted someone to come and save me and ask me how my day was and all these things. And quite frankly, everybody's having their own experience. I needed to save me. And how I could save me was figuring out, knowing what my experience was, knowing what it was I needed, communicating that, and not controlling what the outcome is going to be. Not, having that feeling disappointed because nobody showed up for me or nobody asked me, and then never telling anyone and then resenting him and being angry. The same thing. Like, I could have sat down there, been like exhausted and huffing and cooking and doing all these things and never communicated it, right? And then been all pissy during dinner and been like, and nobody helped me and I do all these things. And they're like, wait, what? Nobody even told me, nobody even asked for help. Nobody told me they needed help. They're just having a thing. And I'm over here getting all upset because they're not showing up for me and I didn't ask anyone to. So the real test to do is get out of your ego, get out of your fears and your worries. Yeah, asking does not guarantee you're going to get the result you want. Communicating to somebody what your needs are does not mean you're going to get your needs met. But that doesn't mean that you stop. That doesn't mean you don't do it, because there are more times that you're going to get your needs met. There are more times that you're going to get the help than you're not. At the end of the day, we're a community, and you're asking the right people. They're going to want to help you because they love you. They love you. And it may not always feel like it. I get it. Because there's times that I'm used to feel all the time like, nobody loves me. Nobody wants. It's crap. Again, I tell you all the time, the most important person to love you is you. So if you love you, which is kind of like a big thing to say, like, I know there's a lot of us out there that don't. We can't look at ourselves in the mirror. I was one of them, guilty. It took so long to look in the mirror. So when I sit here and look at myself in this, iPhone flip backwards, then I really should get a camera. It's time to start investing, but we've got to get the other things done. There's just too much going on. And then I get exhausted, right? But working on like getting a camera, but like sitting here and staring at myself for this like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, that is such a gift in a sense, because I see me. I see me for all my great qualities. I see me for my flaws, and I still love me for all of it. And that's the best gift I have given myself, because I no longer depend on the love from somebody else. I love it. Don't get me wrong. Any love from anybody else is like a cherry on top. It just makes life that much richer and better. But it isn't the end all be all. The love I seek is within. The love you seek from other people, you're outsourcing, thinking they know what they're doing. They don't. They don't. They would love to know for you. They would love to show up for you the way you would want them to. They would love to come and save you if they could. But many times they can't either. They're having their own experiences. Think about it. There are things that they need help with. They're not asking you for either. They don't know how. And so today I started a new book. I haven't finished it, but I started the book, The Courage to be Disliked. It's interesting. Some of the concepts in there were very interesting to me. And I love hearing new books. Like, I love getting new perspectives of life. It is as close as I have as to like talking with my uncle or my grandmas and things like that. I obviously don't get the back and forth. But it is nice to hear this different perspective than always being in my own head and my own perspective. And it allows this place for growth and wisdom. And then I can apply it in my life, or I can share it with my kids or Chris or somebody else. And, again, at the end of the day, I'm just so proud. Like today, Chris sent me a thing. He made up this whole poem. It was funny. It was loving. It was witty. It was goofy. Like, it was so sweet. Like, And it made me think that, yesterday I was at the gym, but he was taking our son to a practice then and then taking him home. And I guess my son got to talking to him, and he's my youngest. And he was saying, since I've been born, I've never seen you and mom like this. And when Chris told me it, it was like gut wrenching in a sense, right? Like it hurt my heart to think that it took 17 years for him to see his parents act like they even liked each other. He was saying even the last few months, like September and August, he's like, I don't even think you and mom said a word to one another. And, so he was like, it was just an eye-opening and humbling experience to hear his experience from him, because sometimes even though you have the best of intentions for the people around you and yourself, you don't realize the implications it has on other people and how much they saw, despite, you trying to, hide it or, make it seem not so bad, or it was just like, that was just the normal. And so I'm really grateful that now he has this opportunity to see that, yeah, we can make mistakes. Yes, we can not be the best of partners to one another, but you can change if you want to. You can change this relationship. And that's what we're doing. We're choosing to change. It's not always easy and it isn't perfect, but we come at it with so much communication and grace. And we really are working at debunking all those old beliefs that we have instilled in us and those old stories, and saying, this is not true. Like, here's the fact check. Like, let's do this. And it's a beautiful thing. Like, there has been nothing better for me than every night falling asleep in his arms. Like, it's so sweet. And so when my son came in the other day and did this, like, look from him to me to him to me on the bed, I knew what his thought was. And then Chris having that conversation with him yesterday really revealed to me, because he had this smile and it was something different. And it was just like, almost like a disbelief, like, wow, this is like what it's like to have parents who love each other, or this is what it's like to have parents who want to be with one another. It was something like, this is the description of the face had said, and hearing his experience of it is just so heartwarming. And again, that's, I am choosing this personally, and I believe from what Chris has said to me, he's choosing this personally for ourselves, because we know at the end of the day, eventually, someday, some way, somehow, these kids will go off and they will have homes and wives and children of them and husbands and whatever it is of their own or not, but they won't be part of our day-to-day experience, right? Like, maybe, but like overall, their life will begin, and a new phase of this empty nest life of ours is here. And for so long, I could not imagine traveling with Chris. I could not imagine being in the car with him for more than an hour. Like, I could not imagine being in his presence. Like, it just kind of scared me. And now it's a whole different experience. So I'm really grateful for it. And it's this proof that people can change if we want to. I can change. I can change and be a better partner. And if I'm a better partner, my partner just might be a better partner too. And it's not about who goes first or who goes second. It's about showing up as the best version of you, showing up as the best version of me. Today, showing up as the best version of me was showing up. Today was saying, I need help. Today was encouraging a friend that felt a little bit down. Today was doing the best I could with what I had and meeting myself there and understanding that that was today. Tomorrow will be better or it'll be worse, and we'll deal with tomorrow then. And yesterday was yesterday, but I'm just going to meet myself here in the presence, in the now, and I am not going to feel like I need to be a warrior who is doing this all on their own. I have created this community I'm surrounded by for a purpose. I want them to depend on me when they feel weak, and I want to feel comfortable coming to them when it is I feel weak or need help. And there's no shame in that. It's a part of the relationship. It's harmonious. It is a give and take. It's reciprocity. It is love. It is love. I read this really interesting thing, and it was talking to 4 kids aged 4 to 8 years old, and it was asking them to describe what love is. And let me tell you, like, we may not think of a 4 and 8-year-old being the wisest people of the world, but some of the things that they had observed and noticed, which went back to what Tyler's experience was like, I don't remember ever seeing you guys like this since I was born. He went an entire lifetime. His 100% of his life, he spent not seeing his parents exhibit love to one another. And he is now. So we can't go back in a time machine and alter anything. But what we can do is show we're human and we can change, and beautiful things can happen. And maybe we didn't do it then, but we can do it now. And be grateful for that. But what some of these kids were saying or the sweetest things, like one kid had said in there, love is when my grandmother has arthritis and is no longer able to paint her nails, that my grandpa with his arthritis paints them for her. You know, it was saying love is when my mom makes my dad coffee in the morning and she takes a sip just to make sure it doesn't taste bad. I could go on and on. There are these beautiful things. Love isn't the big grand gestures. It's not the trips or the honeymoons or the wedding or the ring or going to some extravagant place for dinner. Love is showing up every day. And love is showing up when you're feeling good and when you're having a tough day. So yeah, the easy thing to do is crawl into bed and be like, I don't want to see anybody, I don't want to talk to anyone, I don't want to do anything. But love is showing up and saying, I love you. Love is asking for help when you need it. Love is giving help when you know somebody needs it. This is love. Love is loving yourself. It is forgiving. It is open to the idea that people can change. Because if I wasn't open to the idea that not only I can change, but that Chris can change, we wouldn't be in this situation. I would be having all kinds of fears and jealousies and all that stuff is unbelievable, is mostly shelved. Yeah, there's moments in which I get kind of weak and I start thinking and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like, is it, but that's like 0.001% of the time. And then I'm like, okay, calm down. Those old ways come seeping back in. And so this is my reminder to you that this is a community. I am here for you. We are all here for one another. We are here to grow. We are on a shared experience, having our own journeys. We are trying to live lives that we're proud of over here. And I really just want to say I'm super duper proud of you. Like, I really am. And I'm going to encourage you today to go out there, give yourself a big smile, give yourself a compliment. Today, my compliment is I love that I've embraced my curls. So many times I would never wear my natural curly hair because I felt like I looked like a kid, like I look like Shirley Temple. But when my curls are out, sometimes I have this extra spiciness to me. It's a different vibe. So I love that I've embraced my curls. And then I also want to say to you, please go out there and give someone else a compliment. Today, somebody had some very cute, I loved this color blue leggings, really caught my eye. And she perked up so much. I was like, I love that color on you. And she was like, really? I thought it was such a, went on. It's such a gift to see somebody glow up and you glow up with them. Like, it's such an easy thing to do. It's free. It costs you nothing. And you really can change life. You never know when the last time someone heard something nice about them. And encourage you to say something nice about yourself. There is so many beautiful things about you. So I say all this to say thank you so much again for tuning in. I love that we are glowing up and growing up together here. Mwah. Bye.